When most people think about California wine country, they picture vineyards, cute towns, and expensive wine tastings.
This wasn't our first trip to Napa and Sonoma counties, so we expected that too. What surprised us was how many fun, inexpensive, and in some cases completely free things we found. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have a wonderful time.
These ended up being some of our favorite discoveries of the entire trip.
Even if you aren't a huge Peanuts fan, do not skip the Charles Schulz Museum in Santa Rosa.
We've been to Sonoma County a number of times and never seriously considered going there. But after landing at the Charles M. Schulz Sonoma County Airport in Santa Rosa, we were blown away by all of the Peanuts artwork at the airport.
We'd never flown into this airport before. It was so cute. Charlie Brown, Lucy, all of their friends were everywhere. There was even a Sopwith camel with Snoopy flying it.
Yeah, there was. It was so cool. And oh, by the way, I've never heard someone call an airport cute before. So we decided we'd finally go to the museum.
We expected a museum full of comic strips. Instead, we found something that was much, much more personal.
In the welcome video, Charles Schulz's widow, Jean, said she wanted the museum to be right where Sparky, as he was known to his family, lived and worked.
The museum is so much more than we expected. You really come away understanding the creativity and the personality behind the cartoons.
If you're traveling with kids, grandparents, or honestly anyone who grew up reading Peanuts or seeing the movies or TV specials, this really should be on your must-do list. It's just $15, $10 if you're over 62 like I am, and it's even less for kids.
Before our trip, I reached out to the Santa Rosa Welcome Center with a few questions. The staff was incredibly helpful, so I wanted to stop in and say hello and thank them.
Local visitor centers often have suggestions you don't otherwise hear about. And when the folks there are friendly and helpful, it really makes you feel welcome.
Some of the things you remember most from a trip aren't the attractions, it's how people make you feel.
Healdsburg is a really cute town, and we wanted to have lunch there.
It's just north of Santa Rosa, and we've been there before, but hadn't really walked around much. It's relaxed, very walkable, and full of locally owned shops and restaurants.
One thing we hadn't noticed before, there are giant redwood trees right in the middle of town. I lived in California for 25 years and had never seen one before. Oh, at least I thought I hadn't.
I'm guessing the last time we were in Healdsburg, we just didn't look up.
Yeah, they're right in the plaza. We were walking right past and Ellen asked, "Hey, what type of tree is that?" I looked up and I couldn't see the top.
We had to walk about a block to be able to look back and see the top. Yep, it was redwood. We weren't expecting that at all. One of my Northern California friends says her favorite bookstore is in Healdsburg. Turns out it's in the shadow of that very tree.
We had a wonderful lunch at El Milagro, a nearby Mexican restaurant that specializes in mole.
Moles are rich sauces whose recipes tend to get passed down from generation to generation. We shared the mole verde pipián, which is pumpkin seed mole, and mole rojo con pollo, which is red mole with chicken, and both were delicious. We recommend El Milagro, especially if you've never tried authentic moles before.
If you want to visit some of the small towns that are all over wine country, and really you want to visit some of those small towns, Healdsburg would be pretty much near or at the top of our list.
Now, this may have been the biggest surprise of the trip. Most wine tastings cost money, sometimes a lot of money.
It's not unusual for wine tastings in Napa and Sonoma counties to be in the $50 to $100 range. Now, there are some free tastings, especially from some of the brands you may be familiar with from your supermarket. But I saw that Alexander Valley Vineyards also does free wine tastings.
And free tours of their wine cave.
And my favorite Cabernet is made with Alexander Valley grapes. I was like, what's the catch?
Turns out there was no catch. The tasting was free. The cave tour was also free. They were even selling mystery cases of wine, which were $120 for wine club members, more if you're not in the club, but which included some very, very expensive wines.
Whether you're a wine expert or just curious, the tour was fascinating.
We highly recommend this, and reservations are a good idea, especially on weekends. We'll put a link in the description so you can schedule your own free tasting and cave tour.
The vineyards are beautiful, and it's a short drive from Healdsburg. And on the subject of wine, if you miss being able to pack a corkscrew on trips, it's a myth that corkscrews are not allowed through TSA airport security. What's not allowed are the little knives built into most corkscrews.
On a prior trip to wine country, we discovered an inexpensive and reliable corkscrew that has a built-in foil cutter instead of a knife, and we've used it without a problem at TSA checkpoints.
And we do take it out of our bag, but as soon as TSA sees there's no knife, we're good to go. We'll put a link in the description to one just like it. We highly recommend it.
I've been wanting to visit Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park.
We didn't know California had its own Old Faithful. I'm sure it's different from Yellowstone. This one is in Napa County near Calistoga.
We were told the geyser erupts roughly 2 to 3 times per hour, and it shoots water up something like 60 feet or so.
It made for a nice stop to stretch our legs on our drive over to Napa, but we're not sure it's worth the price. The price ranges from $18 for adults down to $12 for kids.
Yeah, a family of 4 would spend roughly around $60. It's certainly worth considering based on the type of things that you usually enjoy doing, but we think this probably would not pass what we call the price-value equation test for a lot of people. We'll talk about the rest of our Napa County experiences in another video.
And when people think about Sonoma County's wine country, they often focus on expensive wineries.
But some of our favorite memories came from the places surrounding them.
If you're planning a trip to Sonoma and Napa counties, we'd recommend adding a few of these stops to your itinerary.
And if this video helped you plan your trip or just showed you some things you hadn't seen before, we'd appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel and like this video. It really helps us grow our channel. Better living starts now.
See you next time.